Alright, chat, who is it? It's a monster. Who is it? Who's our prismatic? Wait, okay, what's the worst possible card it could be? Oh, Cyber Synchro, he's up there. He's up there. I guess it's probably Cyber Synchron. It's probably the worst outcome. So anything but this one, we're at least somewhat happy. I don't really want to be on the these two cards either, but as long as it's not this one, I won't complain too much. But it's definitely gonna be a Mizuki. Oh my god! What? No, dude, no! No! Galaxy Eyes. Now, unfortunately, this art type as a whole has sort of been overshadowed by the superior Galaxy Eyes deck list being the Tachyon, which has turned out to be an absolute banger of an archetype. But unfortunately, because of that, it seems like a lot of people have just been overlooking standard Galaxy Eyes, just sort of pushing it to the side, which I think is a real shame, as although it's not going to be a super top tier meta contending archetype, at least I don't think so, there's still definitely something there, and this archetype is a lot of fun to play. So for this video, I decided I'm going to showcase just how fun Galaxy Eyes can be, so most of you guys can at least take a look at the archetype before just throwing it away and trying out Tachyon instead. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I get into the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see more content just like this in the future, especially if you're a returning viewer, so apparently about 35% of you watching this are even subscribed to the channel, meaning 65% of you haven't even subscribed yet. So if you guys are enjoying this kind of content, want to see some more deck lists from me in the future, or more videos from me in the future, videos like of course the Dark Magician video that's going to be coming out tomorrow or the next day, maybe even a Tachyon video, I've still got to go through the Boulder Rock stuff from the latest box, and any other art type in the latest box I haven't gone through yet. So if you want to see any of that kind of content, remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel down below, and let's get into this deck list. Alright, so first things first, let's check out the brand new skill, Photon Dragon Advent. Alright, so this skill has two effects, you can only use one of these per turn. Reveal one Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon or Galaxy Knight in your hand, then you can add two cards to your hand that are either Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon or level 8 warrior type Galaxy monsters. Then you can send one card in your hand to the graveyard. So keep in mind the send effect is completely optional, you can just use this thing essentially for free to add two cards from your deck to your hand. Alright, the second effect allows you to send one Galaxy card in your hand to the graveyard to set one Galaxy Eyes Cloudragon on your field from your hand or graveyard. Which is of course going to be a fantastic follow-up play considering this card, you can distribute it off to summon back your Galaxy Eyes from your graveyard or from your hand, and just like with the Red Eyes skill and a few other skills in this game, although the skill sets this card face down, it can be flipped up on the same turn you set it, so fantastic follow-up play that can bring back your Galaxy Eyes monsters when you need them. So this deck list has 5 main deck monsters. To start with, we have your Galaxy Brave. This card you're only playing at 1 because you're going to search it with the skill every single duel, so you don't need to worry about playing multiple copies for consistency because you just grab it via the skill anyway. This card you can reveal one Photon monster in your hand, which is going to be your Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, special summon it to the field. If you do, this card's level becomes the same as that monster, and they're both already level 8 anyway, so that doesn't matter. If this card is normal special summon, you can target a Galaxy card in your graveyard, this card's attack becomes equal to that monster's attack and defense. Alright, so the thing you need to summon to the field generally will be used for Xyz plays, so the attack stats doesn't really matter, but keep in mind it does have that effect. Alright, then we have your Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, which is a whole bunch of card text which is generally pretty irrelevant. Basically, this thing can battle an opponent's monster, and then it can banish both monsters until the end of the battle phase. You can read it for yourself if you like, it's not all that important for the deck list. Then we have your Galaxy Soldier. This card you can send one other light monster from your hand to the graveyard, special summon this card in defense position. When this card is special summoned, you can add one Galaxy monster from your deck to your hand. And keep in mind, the first part of the effect is not once per turn, just the second part. So if you activate Galaxy Soldier to search for another copy of Galaxy Soldier, you can then special summon that card to the field, you just won't get the search effect from it. Alright, then we have your Galaxy Knight. This thing, if you control a Photon or Galaxy monster, you can normal summon it without tributing. Then you can target one Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon in the graveyard and basically just summon it back to the field. Alright, then we have your Galaxy Eyes Cloudragon, which I've already mentioned earlier. You can distribute it off, summon back your Galaxy cards from the graveyard. Alright, then we have your spell cards, starting off with the most expensive card in the deck list because unfortunately it is currently locked behind a selection box. your Photon Sanctuary. This card can special summon 2 Photon tokens in defense position. These tokens cannot attack or be used as synchro materials. You cannot summon other monsters the turn you activate this card except for light monsters. So keep in mind this thing does summon 2 tokens to the field. They can't be used for Xyz summoning because obviously tokens can't be used for Xyz summoning, but you can use them for your Link monsters, which is the main reason this is in here. You can activate it, instantly summon out a bunch of Link monsters. A fantastic card. Unfortunately, it is kind of paywalled right now, so that kind of sucks. And do keep in mind, we are playing some dark monsters in the extra deck, and you won't be able to summon them after you've used this card, so keep that in mind. Then we have your Hyper Galaxy. This thing contribute a monster with 2000 more attack, except Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon, then target one monster your opponent controls with 2000 more attack, tribute it, and if you do, special summon one Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So a fantastic card that's generally being used to either be an extra bit of turn 1 disruption, or fantastic extra way to dodge your opponent's back row. Because you summon out one of your big monsters, your opponent tries to stop you going to an Xyz play or targets one of your Xyz monsters, activate Hyper Galaxy, tribute a monster, tribute an opponent's monster, summon out a boss monster, and you just wasted one of your opponent's back row for essentially just this card alone. So fantastic card. Then we have the Trade-In. This thing can discard 1 level 8 monster to draw 2 cards. Fantastic, it's not a once per turn effect, and we have a bunch of level 8s that are going to be searched for via your skill, and you'll notice when you're playing this deck list, there are a bunch of times you just have level 8s in your hand that you don't really need to use for anything because you've already used your normal summon for the turn, or you just want to have Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon in the graveyard for something like your Galaxy Knight, so Trade-In is fantastic in this deck list. Alright, and finally we have Galaxy Expedition. If you control a level 5 or higher Photon or Galaxy monster, special summon one level 5 or higher Galaxy Photon or Galaxy monster from your deck in face-up defense position. So a fantastic card, but you'll notice I'm actually only playing 2 of both these cards. That's because both of them are once per turns, and when you're playing 3 copies of Trade-In in a deck list that starts off with your 5 cards in your hand going second, activate your skill, 7 cards in your starting hand, then you activate Trade-In, the odds of you hitting a 3 of is just so goddamn high that I feel like playing 3 of these once per turn effects just feels really bad, so I decided to play only 2 of each, which has felt pretty goddamn good to me. Alright, and the final new card in the deck list is going to be, of course, your Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. This card is disgusting. 2 level 8 monsters. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can attach one Xyz material from this card to target one face-up monster on the field. This turn, its effects are negated, but it is unaffected by other card effects. So this has a fantastic effect. Obviously, you can just use Disruption to negate your opponent's stuff, or you can use it on your own cards to negate them, but make them immune to something. So if your opponent activates a back row targeting your Felgrand, you can activate its effect, target itself, and all of a sudden, your opponent just wasted their back row. This card will become completely immune for the turn. So, an absolutely insane card that really makes this deck list actually functional. Alright guys, that's going to do it for the deck list portion of the video. The rest of the video will be gameplay showcasing this deck list in action, and without further ado, let's get into some gameplay. Alright, today I've got 7 replays to share with you guys, all of which were gathered from inside a Legend, where I started at Legend 2 and ended up at Legend 3, which isn't exactly the most insane showing for an art type, only going up 1 rank, but I do think it's good enough to show this art type is definitely good enough to climb the ranks if you want to use this deck to get to King of Games or something like that. But I do think this art type is more on the for fun sort of ladder art type sort of thing. It's not going to be a top tier meta contender or anything like that. I don't think it's going to be something that's going to be super prominent in tournaments or anything like that. But it is definitely a good enough deck list to climb the ranked ladder, which is all you can really ask for if you're looking for just a for fun art type to mess around with. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be anything too spectacular in tournament play or anything like that. Alright, so first off, starting off against a BLS player. Alright, it also took quite a while for me to actually get a variation of this deck list I really liked too, but we did end up getting one. Alright, so I activated our skill, added 2 cards using Trade-In. Revealing a card to summon out a Galaxy Brave, making this thing 3000 attack, reviving this card from the graveyard, getting one of the best animations in all of Duel Links. Absolutely amazing animation. I definitely preferred this art type to be meta relevant over Tachyon. Its animation is so much better. Alright, starting off by going to our first Xyz monster, our first Link monster. Solflare adding back to our hand. Normal summon, Expedition first, summoning out the Galaxy Eyes. These two become your Felgrand. And then passing the turn. So we've got 2 lots of disruption here. And thankfully our opponent hasn't actually got anything currently. So Cloudragon gonna be summoning out. Expedition reviving from the deck, or summoning from the deck. These two are gonna become a copy of Dingirsu, so non-target remove. Which forces out 1 Compulse. We can use Felgrand to protect my card. He uses it again, which is completely fine because this thing's still gonna remove, so now he's just dead on field. Alright, starting off with a fairly basic replay, not too much happened there. Then the other ones, we get a bit more spicy gameplay. I think the main sort of upside this deck is that it does have quite a lot of cards to just play through Disruption. The main downside is most of your Disruption, at least going first, is all monster sort of related. So if your opponent has like a Droplet or something, it can feel pretty bad. Alright, it's up against a Shiranui player. Alright, so he's discarding, adding a Squire to hand. Alright, making his Squire Saga. Pretty good hand actually we've got here. Got 1 each of the spell cards, which is what you want, so you don't draw too many of your once per turn effects. And we have a Galaxy Eyes card, so we can search for 2 cards with the skill. Alright, Mizuki reviving, Saga getting a card draw, Shade can be reviving. I think this guy was not quite setting up the skill the way you were meant to set it up, but sure, I guess. I guess he ended on what, a pop 2 with the Sun Saga, not too bad. Alright, Advent searching for 2 cards. Then we can use Trade In to discard to draw a couple more, Trade In again to draw even more cards. Photon Sanctuary making the Link monster, going for my Bujin. Bujin summoning back, then summoning from hand, going to an Xyz immediately. This is all via the Bujin effect, by the way. Summoning out Felgrand. So now we're basically safe to most of the back row. He immediately tries to use Supremacy, so I'm just going to negate that. So he had Droplet in response, but thankfully I have Hyper Galaxy, so I can tribute, pop his card. And the cool thing about this Link monster, or the downside of the Link monster, is it can only summon back to its Link arrow. So if you remove it, he doesn't get his summon back. Alright, summoning out Galaxy Eyes from deck. Alright, using the Bujin effect to pop a card because the Xyz monster was used below the arrow. Summoning back, and yeah, he's just, he's done so. Alright, moving on to replay number 3. Yeah, this deck can definitely play through quite a lot of disruptions if you open a good enough hand. It is very hand reliant. Alright. It's up against a Mayakashi player. So Advent being used to search for Brave, searching for the Galaxy Eyes. Unfortunately, we're not playing the rank 8 that can stop the Graveyard Revives. Maybe that is a option for this deck if Mayakashi becomes insanely popular. Which it already is decently popular on the ladder, so maybe it is worth running the thing that stops Graveyard Revives. Alright, signing my Bujin, summoning back to go for an Xyz summon. Making my Felgrand. Normal I didn't even normal summon. Ooh, that's a, I must have normal summoned earlier. So that's a very weak end field, actually. This is on the weaker side of your end fields. Normally you end on at least 2 disruptions, if not 3. Alright, thankfully my opponent though was really bad. I don't know why he would use the, this card to discard this card, when he could have just used, Return to search for Yuki, and he could easily have played through this negate, but anyway. Alright, putting all of his stuff in the extra deck, swings in so he can summon back from the graveyard, which we don't really care too much about. So now I'm just going to, yeah, do whatever I want to this guy's field. Alright, summoning this card by discarding, and tribute him off, summoning back. These two become your Dingirsu, and yeah, non-target removal, he's already dead. Alright, so I think that guy just sort of played not too great, if I'm being honest, but moving on. Alright, up against DX. Yeah, I think that's probably the main reason I would have climbed the ladder with this deck list, even if it isn't necessarily a insane top tier meta contender. Because a lot of people on ladder are doing interesting things. Alright, it's up against a Battle Chronicle Blue Eyes player. So trade in searching for 2 monsters. Oh sorry, skill using searching for 2 monsters, trade in drawing 2, Galaxy Brave, special summoning it. Holy shit, stuttering all over the place. Galaxy Knight reviving. God, the eyes on this animation are so sick. Alright, these two become my Solflare. Solflare adding back to hand. Using my Expedition to summon from deck, these two become your Felgrand. Then we can just use the Galaxy Soldier to discard, summon itself, search for another. Discard, summon itself again, and now we can make a rank 5 as well. So Vimana. Alright, Melody discarding. This is not. This may seem like a pretty insane field with 2 negates and a pop, but it's actually not that insane, especially versus a deck which is got a bunch of normal monsters that don't really care about their effects. The attack stats are fairly low on these, at least they're not over 3k, so your opponent can just sort of beat over them. So a little bit unfortunate. Alright, summons out the Blue Eyes. I might as well pop this thing here, because otherwise I'll have to use one of these effects anyway. Which maybe was worth holding off on the pop, but I don't know. Alright, summons out, here's a Blue Eyes. Swings in, beats over my monster, and passes the turn. Alright, normal summon going to be reviving. He's going to crack down my monster, which is still fine because Vimana's going to carry the shit out of this duel, gain the attack, beat over his monster, and pass back. Alright, goes for an Xyz summon of a Felgrand for some reason, targets my monster with it, which allows me to just detach to negate it, thank you, because now he's put the Xyz monster in the graveyard again. Then he uses the Sage to pop it to summon a 3k monster, swings in, Vimana can now add stats back. I don't know what he was doing. A classic ladder gamer right there. Although Vimana carried the shit out of that duel. And he was able to kill it. I still had more follow-up stuff and he had basically nothing left, so I think I was probably still okay, but I don't know about that one. Alright, up against another Blue Eyes player, I think. Alright, going first once again. Duel. Alright, Advent adding my 2 cards to my hand. Trade in, drawing 2. Trade in, drawing 2. Alright, Sanctuary, summoning the 2 tokens. These become a Solflare Dragon. Honestly, if I could get a 3rd copy of this card, I probably would, because I think this thing isn't even once per turn. So if I open multiple of this, I'm pretty sure I can just summon multiple elite monsters, I'm pretty sure. I haven't tried yet, so I assume you can. Alright, Galaxy Knight summoning back to the field. I think we end on a fairly similar end field to the previous game. I think we have a level 5 in hand as well, we do. So these two become an 8, Galaxy Soldier, discard, summon, search, discard, summon. And then you want a little bit of follow-up here too. So we've gone for Vimana, we've got 2 negates, we've got a discard, destroy, and we've got Expedition to summon from deck. Alright, summons the card, I'm going to pop that of course. In response this time, for a moment there I was worried that I clicked on the same replay from before, but no, it's a different replay. He's going to chain an Ultimate Fusion, which is disgusting actually. I probably should have used my Felgrand here maybe to protect itself, because of this card's going to pop a card, it's non-target. But he pops this card anyway for some reason. I guess it doesn't really matter because he just plans to beat over my stuff anyway, but... Alright, revives my Galaxy Eyes, the little shit. Alright, Felgrand's going to be negating, so this thing can't attack multiple times. Alright, 500 life points and a dream. Alright, summoning my Cloudragon. Cloudragon to tribute itself. Summoning out the Galaxy Eyes. Galaxy Expedition. These two become your Cipher. Cipher becomes your full armor. Pop one. Exceeds again into Cipher Blade. Move another. And then I think I had like 20 seconds left on the clock here, and I couldn't decide whether or not I want to swing over this thing or not, and just decided, screw it. What's the worst that could happen? I'm not sure if it was correct to actually swing into this thing, but anyway. And he top decked badly, so we win. Alright. Yeah, not sure that guy particularly played very well either. Turns out a lot of people on ladder today have just been really not too great. Not that I can talk, I'm sure I've been messing up in a lot of these replays, especially considering the amount of cards I get in my hand. The amount of choices you have early on is quite a bit. But yeah. Alright, up against Ishizu. So Advent, searching for my 2 cards. Sanctuary, making 2 tokens. These 2 become my Solflare. Adding back to hand. Brave, summoning itself to the field. Then Mickey's Expedition, summon out the level 5. Level 5, search. Special summon. And these 2 become your Vimana. We haven't even normal summoned yet. Alright, had to waste the normal summon effect there though, so maybe I could have done this a bit better where I kept an extra card in hand or something. Probably doable, but either way. Alright, Adhara summoning up against a 10-year player. Alright, he's going to use his Dragon Cycle. I'm going to pop this in response so he doesn't get to add to hand. Alright, going to be activating this thing's effect. I have to negate it, otherwise he would destroy the card in the field, which would be really annoying. Going for a Monk with a 10-year. Ashuna summoning out from deck, which is also annoying because it means I have to use my other negate now. But at least it can defend itself so it doesn't get returned to hand. Alright, these 2 become the Shaman. Shaman going to be discarding to summon back. Decides not to go for the Link 3, I don't think. Yeah, just decide to swing in with what he's got. Decide not to go for the Link 3 for some reason. Either way, I don't think it particularly mattered because Galaxy Knight was a sick top deck anyway. Although a lot of cards would have been good top decks because any Galaxy card I discard, summon my dude, bring back a Galaxy Eyes, and he would have been, yeah, pretty dead on field from that anyway. Alright. Actually, he would have been dead on field if I hadn't topped that, I don't think. Anyway. Alright, final replay. Alright, so I think this guy was... What, was this guy playing Dark Moon? He might have been. And this was the rank up game. Oh no, this is a... Wait. This is another BLS player. Alright, searching for my 2 Galaxy Eyes monsters. Using trade, discarding, drawing. Activating my Photon Sanctuary. These 2 become Solflare. Solflare going to be adding back to hand. Galaxy Soldier discarding, summoning again. Oh, not summoning that one first, I'm going to use this one first. Summon back. For quite possibly the final time in this video, Galaxy Eyes animation. These 2 become Felgrand, summon to the field, and there is your rank 5 as well. Alright. So opponent's going to use Book of Moon. Then he's going to use Book of Moon again. I'm going to stop my monster being destroyed though, which is great. Summons out a BLS, I have to pop that, I'm forced to. Hard draws his actual BLS, which is really bad for me because it means he gets to search and ritual summon as well on this turn. Yeah, this guy had a pretty insane opening hand to deal with this build, actually. He gets his Chaos Form, can ritual summon on the exact same turn. And then he's going to swing in, nuke my field, and I'm going to take a buttload of damage, but not quite enough to kill me. Alright, Advent going to be sending the Galaxy Eyes to Graveyard to summon my Cloudragon. He has a warning point as well. But thankfully for me, I get a top deck. If that guy can open all that shit, I get a top deck as well. Galaxy Eyes summon out the Photon Dragon. These two become the Cipher. The Cipher going to be ranking up into a copy of Full Armor. Alright, Full Armor is going to be popping one of them, then we're going to summon out the other. Cipher Blade. He's going to pop the other. And then before we end the turn, we're going to tribute off this token so it's not just sitting on the field when I have 800 life points left, because that would be not the greatest of ideas. And swing it in, and he decides to concede there. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. If you didn't, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, check out this deck list. I don't think it's going to be a top tier meta thing like I said, but definitely a fun deck. You should definitely try out. Just like you should try out all the other decks I'm going to be uploading over the next couple of days. If you want to see any of those, then subscribe. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.